a number of people who have said, I've been practicing for 15 years. I've been practicing for 10 years. I've been practicing, all this time. And they go in and they take the first class, that's Natal Studies 1. And they come back and they say, I didn't know half of this.
Hey there, astrology lover. Today, we have a really special episode to share with any of you who are considering embarking upon or who are already on the path of becoming a professional astrologer. We at Astrology Hub have always considered ourselves kind of like a bridge, offering an experience of the vast and intriguing paths that are available within astrology and introducing you to an incredible cast of astrologers who could potentially be your teachers. We take people pretty far down the astrological rabbit hole. However, there comes a point in some of our students' lives where they're ready to take things to the next level. They want to enter into more formalized study. They want to go really deeply into the field and have something to show for it, a diploma, certification, or some other stamp of approval from an institution who's qualified to offer this. In addition, they want one-on-one attention and mentorship and the opportunity to practice, get feedback, and make sure they are reading charts right and truly qualified to practice or teach astrology. If you are one of those people, this episode is a must. You'll learn what your two options are for official diplomas in astrology in the US. You'll hear from two wonderful guests from one of those options, the International Academy of Astrology, also known as IAA, Ena Stanley, the founder of IAA, and Jodie Forrest, who is on the faculty. You will learn what the inspiration was behind the creation of IAA over 20 years ago, what the benefit of a formal trade school or vocational school or college is for an astrology student, what makes IAA and Kepler different from a program headed by a popular individual, what the time commitment is and how long it takes to get a diploma, and also what you can expect as a graduating student in terms of your career options within the field of astrology. You may be surprised at the possibilities that open up. And finally, how you can get started with this program in January with a very super special offer from IAA. A little more about Ena and Jodie before we dive in and why they're qualified to speak about this with us here today. Ena Stanley is an esteemed astrologer who began studying astrology in 1968 and pursued formal studies in the late 1970s. She's won many awards for her astrological achievements, and she started the first ever online astrology school in 1986. Jodie Forrest is an experienced astrologer, writer, and teacher, active in her field since 1983. She's authored and co-authored many astrological books, including The Ascendant, Solar Arcs, Directions from the Sun, as well as co-authoring Skymates and Skymates 2 with her former husband, Stephen Forrest. These two women are pros, and they're here to help navigating your options easier and more clear. We'll dive in just a minute, but before we do, I think it's important to mention that we at Astrology Hub do not have any financial arrangements with IAA or Kepler College at this point. We truly just want to provide quality options for students who are ready for this next step, and we love making it easy for you to navigate the path forward. IAA and Kepler College both offer great options for astrology students to explore, so it's an honor to be able to share about them here. I learned a ton from these two wonderful women, and I hope that you do too. So please sit back and enjoy this episode of the Astrology Hub podcast. Ena, I'd love to start with you because you are the founder of the International Academy of Astrology. Why did you do this? Like, this must have been a massive labor of love, especially considering when you started it. What need did you see for astrological education, and what made you commit to building a school and a diploma and a curriculum and all of those things?
Well, when I when I started studying astrology earnestly, like you said, I started in reading about it and looking at things and learning how to read ephemerides and that type of thing from 1968 until the late 70s, 78, 79, close to 10 years. So I read all those books and didn't know how to put things together. So I started classes. So I took a couple of years of classes and got a little certificate. Thought I knew everything there was to know until I actually started working with it. And then I started actually studying with people. And I realized how much I did not know and how much there was yet to know. And the more I studied, the more that became evident. And I realized that even the people I had gone to for consultations, which was only 2, didn't know what I knew at that point in time. Mm. They were actually practicing what I would call in a fraudulent way. In other words, they did not really know what they were doing and could cause all sorts of harm, and did with me, because I went to an astrologer who said that I should do a particular thing, and it was not the right timing. It wasn't, it was just not right. And I tried my darndest to do what she had said that I was going to do, and kept tripping over my own feet. So those kind of experiences led me to realize that I needed to teach. So in 1968, in January, as a matter of fact, I started teaching. I really had the sincere desire to teach people fundamental astrology in a way that they could comprehend it. Because when I was taught this, and then I was taught that, and then I was taught something over here, and it was a hodgepodge of things. So I wanted to teach people how to put it together in a cohesive fashion. And so then I'm Gemini forever and a day. So I really like to write. So I asked the guys up there in the heavens, if you want me to write, you need to have me stay at home instead of running around and doing my practice and then teaching in various places. So the next thing I realized, or didn't realize, or for next opportunity that came to me, was that I was offered a position at an online community college. And even though I was taking a horrible, terrible, ridiculous cut in pay, there was something in my mind that said, you need to do this. This is important for you. So I worked at Cal Campus, and that was about in the middle 90s that I started. And the spring semester of 1997, I taught 13 classes. I wasn't doing anything at all but teaching classes at Cal Campus.
And you're teaching astrology at a community college? Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and she even got some of my classes accredited. So I was accredited right along with Kepler. Actually, before Kepler was actually in function, because this was in the middle 90s. So at any rate, I decided, why am I doing this for someone else? I could do my own school, and I needed to have other people teach. I needed other people to come in. And I was very excited about starting the school. As a matter of fact, when I actually started the school, I feel like I heard a voice say to me, now you know why you were born. And by the way, I was 61 when I started the school. I was 61 years old. So, this was something that I had to think about a lot to be able to do, but I did. And then in 2000, a woman who is also known at Kepler, known more at Kepler now than she was with me, but she joined me in 2000, and we put together the 4-year program that is basically functioning today. And the woman is Carol Tibbs. I didn't mention her name, but she's a very respectable woman in education.
So you saw a need because you had experiences with astrologers who clearly weren't well trained. You experienced the harm that caused. So you started teaching, and then eventually it became an opportunity to do it online, which then opened up the world to astrological education. That's awesome. And you started the IAA at age 61. Wow. Amazing. Okay. And so for anybody wondering, why do you think a more formal education, so IAA, the International Academy of Astrology that you run, is a vocational or trade school, right?
Yes.
And why do you feel it's important to go to a more traditional educational institution in order to get your astrological foundations, get a diploma, go through a more rigorous experience? Why do you feel it's important for students? And this could be for Jodie or for Ena.
Okay. I'm going to let you talk for a little bit, Jodie.
Okay. I think in almost any profession, it's important to know what the roots of it are, what the history of it is, because that way you bump into some timeless themes, timeless information, and frankly, timeless issues about how your people in your field practice, how they do and do not practice. Modern astrology, before some of these ancient texts were translated into English by Project Hindsight, drew from traditional astrology a lot, but without knowing the roots of some of its practices. And we were able, thanks to Project Hindsight, to have access to a very, very rich, thousands of years old tradition in our field. So we've regained a lot of what we had lost without losing some of the important, I think, humanistic tenets and attitudes that have been current in society since the Enlightenment and certainly in modern times. Modern humanistic astrology was kind of an orphan from its past, from its history, from its traditions, and from the source of a great deal of its information. So if you know where some astrological traditions and methods and techniques came from, and how they have been altered here and edited there and revised someplace else, sometimes hundreds and hundreds of years apart, you're a lot better able to you're much more equipped to look at the whole field and say, I understand the field, I understand controversies, I understand developments, and now that I have this knowledge, this is how I choose to practice. You're fully informed. Not doing that is a little bit like going to medical school and you have one course and it's human anatomy. And then they turn you loose and expect you to practice on human beings. And there is so much more to medicine than just the anatomy and physiology of the fleshy envelopes we're walking around in. And astrology is a huge field. There's infinitely more to it than what we see in the newspapers, and there's a lot more to it than the sort of experience that Ena had when she first started seeing astrologers who were less informed and less trained, and who made some errors in practice with her. You're a lot less likely to do that if you're fully informed. And a trade school will teach you history, techniques, methods, controversies, ways to approach things, ways not to approach things. And you leave the school with a large toolbox full of all kinds of different tools. For one client, you might want to take out some traditional methods and tools. And for another client, you might want to take out modern methods and tools from your toolbox. So a formal education gives you lots of choices and lots of flexibility and lots of adaptability to who your clients are and where they are, metaphorically speaking, than if you have studied anatomy and physiology and are expected to go fix a broken limb with only that amount of knowledge and nothing else behind it, nothing else to back it up.
Picture this. You step into the new year not just with a list of resolutions, but with a pocket full of insights from the stars that help you make choices about timing, direction, and focus. Put together by an all-star cast of our best astrologers, our free 2024 Astrology Blueprint is more than predictions. It's your personal cosmic playbook for the whole year. Think of it as a chat with the universe, a way to catch those sparks of clarity that light up your journey. It's about syncing up with the stars and making the most of every moment. Consider it our holiday gift to you. And here's to a year of tapping into cosmic wisdom and personal power. Let's make 2024 a year to remember together. Get your free copy at astrologyhub.com/2024 guide.
I can imagine that what you experienced in the 70s and 80s is even magnified more today because of the internet, because of the accessibility to sort of a superficial level of astrology. And so it seems perhaps it would be even more important now to actually understand the breadth and get that foundation in place. And it would not only like personally be important for you, but also in contrast to a lot of the people that are also practicing who might just have a sliver of the story. So at your school, do people get all the different kinds of astrology? Like, do they get, what are the types of astrology that they get exposed to, that they learn about?
Well, first of all, they will have all the techniques of modern and the techniques of traditional.
Okay.
So that in itself, I think, is unique with this school. You can do that at Kepler, but the difference between Kepler and IAA, even though we end up with the same basic information across the board, we are structured so that you get this part, and then you have something that takes this part to a higher level, that takes these two parts to a higher level, and you keep going that way. Moreover, you're practicing as you go, and you're integrating the information. It's not just thrown at you and you can get it or not. You actually are guided and mothered.
Yeah, it's a path. It's a path. And it's really interesting. Yes. We have our inner circle membership where our inner circle students get exposed to a lot of different types of astrology through a lot of different astrologers. Mm-hmm. And there's a subset of them that inevitably get to a point where they want a really clear path and they want to practice. Mm-hmm. They want to look at charts and get feedback. They want to know if they're doing it right.
Yes.
So I think that, what I'm hearing is that through your program, at every step of the way, the students are practicing with their teachers and getting real-time feedback so that they're not developing bad habits, and they're not, they're not having to guess and question. And it seems like this would be even a path towards more confidence in practice, because a lot of people,
absolutely, yes,
especially the ones that are mindful, they may be studying for decades, but still don't feel ready to practice. And I think a lot of that is missing that, mentorship and real hands-on practical feedback.
We have actually had people who have enrolled, not just one or two, but a number of people who have said, I've been practicing for 15 years. I've been practicing for 10 years. I've been practicing, all this time. And they go in and they take the first class, that's Natal Studies 1. And they come back and they say, I didn't know half of this.
Wow. Yeah. So I know at the end of year, so the program's 4 years, correct?
Yeah.
Approximately. I mean, someone could speed it up if they have a ton of time. Someone might take it or if they don't. Mm-hmm. But it's like a 4-year college, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you get a formal diploma that says you graduated, and there's testing along the way, just like if you were at a college, right?
Exactly.
There is review and testing built in. So that you're in a constant learning process. You're learning new material and reinforcing what you've already learned, and you keep on practicing it all the way through the curriculum.
Amazing. Okay. And I know that Kepler offers a certification. So you offer a diploma and Kepler offers a certification, correct?
No. We both offer diplomas. Neither one of us offer certification.
Got it. Okay. I misunderstood that. Okay.
Yeah, no. Kepler and I are just exactly alike, except that Kepler, because they were developed as a college, an accredited college, they've maintained that format. Where I started as a trade school, but our students come out with the same basic information, and we've always worked together. Yeah,
which is beautiful. If someone was trying to decide between Kepler and IAA, how would they make that decision?
By how they want to learn. If someone is more geared to just taking this class and then that class and this class over here and putting it together, then they want to go to Kepler. If they need to have the structure of getting the information on I can't think of my words now.
It's a path. I mean, that's the way I keep thinking of it. It's like, it's a progression and it builds upon each other, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So if they want more of a structured curriculum and experience where they just follow the path,
right?
And they go with IAA. If they are more interested in sort of picking and choosing what they want and creating the program that they want, then Kepler is a great option for that.
Yes. And Kepler will help them, create the program as well. I mean, I do love Kepler too, but I don't want to spend my whole time talking about Kepler, and I could.
Yes. Okay. What if somebody's out there thinking that they want to be professional? What would you say is the biggest difference between choosing a school like yours and going with like somebody online that's offering a certification? An individual who's offering a certification in.
I don't think anybody can offer. I think the only.
Well, a certificate. How about that?
Okay, a certificate. Yeah. Okay.
What would you say is the main difference and why they would choose a more formal school versus like an individual who's offering a training to them?
A multiplicity of teachers, a multiplicity of points of view. This is a huge field, as you know, and there are a lot of different attitudes. There are a lot of different ways to practice. There are a lot of different theories. And if you get a diploma through us, you have been exposed to many different teachers and attitudes and points of views and controversies and ways to approach charts, strategies, techniques. We have small classes. You get a lot of one-on-one individual attention. And I think you simply come out with a more comprehensive and well-rounded education that you can use practically in practice as well as academically.
Can you give us some examples? You said lots of different tools and techniques. What are some, just give us like a smattering of techniques and tools that they get.
Okay. In the professional studies module, if students take 5 courses, about 2 or 3 of them are on transits, progressions, and arcs. And you do a lot of analyzing and you present interpretations, and your teacher, your instructor gives you feedback. You take a course on the ethics of astrology, which I think is extremely important, especially if you've been a consumer of astrology and you've had primarily good experiences and you haven't stopped to think about some of the ethical professional questions that are inherent to almost any form of counseling. And there's some that are peculiar to astrology. You're not learning just one person's attitude or point of view or techniques. If you're studying with one person and get one person's certificate, you learn that person's method of astrology and their thought structure and how they work very intimately. But that's all you learn. It's like you've learned to play the piano in E, but you're better off if you can adjust your presentation if the client speaks C sharp and not E. You have a lot of flexibility when you leave our program and a lot of ways you can apply the knowledge rather than looking at one person, maybe 2 people's points of view and attitudes and experiences and theories.
What do most of your students do after they graduate? I mean, obviously they become practicing astrologers, but what are some other things that you've seen students do after they graduate?
Teach.
Write books, teach, write.
Okay.
Lecture.
Definitely. Speakers. You can bump into our speakers with our diploma at any major conference and regional ones too, of course. We're well represented at conferences and in bookstores and in teaching programs.
Amazing. That's great. What's the time commitment? So for someone that's working or maybe has a family or what do they have to commit in order to be successful in the program?
For those people, I would suggest 1 course a semester. Once in a while, somebody wants to take 2, and if they don't have family responsibilities and don't have a full-time job, I think it's possible to take 2, but you're wiser to certainly to start off taking 1 course a semester. And a lot of them build on each other, so there is a sequence. There are some courses that can be taken concurrently, but most of them build on one another. There will be some commitment to studying and to homework, and to taking a final.
So there's finals at the end of each semester?
Yeah, there are some people give quizzes during their classes during the semester. Some of the quizzes are graded. Some of them are for self-study. There is homework and there is a final. The grade is based a third on homework, a third on the final, and a third on class attendance. Class attendance / participation, I should say.
How does IAA choose the teachers? Like who are the facilitators of the curriculum?
I would think Ena and the education committee have ultimate authority over who gets hired to teach what. And one makes an application if one wants to teach at IAA. But Ena is probably more suited to describe how we find our instructors than I am.
I also draw teachers from our student base. A lot of our teachers have come through the school, and they want to teach. They're excited about maybe teaching.
I think this is great. Like this opens up options within the field of astrology to more than just if you want to be a practicing counseling astrologer. This is an opportunity to become a teacher, an opportunity to become an author. Okay, so if somebody is interested in and checking out the school, learning more. I know you're also offering the Astrology Hub community a very generous discount on the first course in the first semester.
And that would be in the natal studies module.
Natal studies. So the starting point, if any of you out there are like, I think I want to check this out, I want to try it, I want to start on this path, they are offering a 25% discount to our Astrology Hub community, which is super generous. And I mean, it would just be a great way for any of you to jump in, get your feet wet, learn in a different kind of environment than maybe you've been learning, especially if you've been learning with us. It would be a very different, more hands-on, more intimate, smaller group where you could get some real clear feedback. You get tested at the end of it. You'll know if you're progressing. So IAA is offering a discount of 25% that is applicable through what's the end date for them to get that discount? Is it through the end of January?
It's until the first class. Actually, until the second class of Nat 1, they can register up until close to the end of the month.
Okay, close to the end of January. Okay, class starts on January 17th.
One section on the 17th and one section on the 20th.
Okay, one section starts on the 17th, one starts on the 20th. So if you're interested, make sure you go and check out the school. We'll put the link in the show notes. And also, can you say it verbally right now, just for those listening on the audio?
It's astrocollege.org, O-R-G.
Astrocollege.org. Okay. And then the discount code is AstroHub, all caps. So AstroHub, all caps, you get 25% off. And we'll put the links, we'll put the code in the show notes. Is there anything else, Ena and Jodie, you'd want to say to someone who's considering which path to go down, who thinks they want to be a professional, or who maybe, like you said, there's some people that have come through the school that are already professionals. They just never got the more formal education. What would you say to them?
The thing that is running through my mind is that if they're interested in just seeing how the school works, take that first class. See, that Nat 1. There's 12 classes in that course. 12
classes. That's like 12 weeks.
Yes.
In the course. Yes. And when you say Nat, that means natal studies. And this is level 1. What if they're like, God, I've already done natal studies. Like, I feel like I'm beyond that.
I don't think they have.
Well, they could try to place out of the natal studies module by taking the placement tests for each course, but it is hard to pass those.
I've never had anyone pass.
Okay.
That didn't actually take the curriculum, is what you're saying.
Right. Yeah. Anyone who said, oh, no, I don't need to take this course.
Okay. So
they want to test out. They don't pass.
So Ena says, try it, take it, get going. And Jodie, anything you'd want to say to someone who's considering it, thinking about it?
I would say run, don't walk here. I've been studying astrology a long time, starting as a kid. And if this college had been around when I was coming up, I might have kicked the metaphorical virtual doors down trying to enroll. This is the school I wish I had been able to go to when I was younger. And I'm thrilled to be teaching here. International Academy of Astrology looks at its students as our future colleagues. And I've seen schools, I've studied schools, I have a background in education, who consider their students products, clients, sometimes inmates, sometimes problems. But this is the only school I have ever taught at where we consider our students our future colleagues, and that's how I treat all of mine.
Beautiful. And I just want you all to know that we do not have any sort of affiliate program with IAA. We're truly doing this because there's a need in our audience. I mean, in our community, there's a need, and we've seen it and we hear it. We hear our students speak, and they want to know, like, what else can I do? Where else can I go? What would you recommend if I want to, have a more formal education in astrology? And we don't offer it. So we're thrilled to be partnering with IAA in just advocating for the potential for all of you. And then just so thrilled that they have offered to so generously make it easy for our community to get started. So you do have options. What about NCGR as an option? Is that another option besides Kepler and IAA?
No, that's an organization.
They're an organization. They're not a school like you guys are.
Right. No, neither is ESAR. They're just organizations. AFA, NCGR, and ESAR are organizations. They're membership based.
Okay, and OPA too. That's also
OPA too. Yes, OPA too. Yes.
Okay. All right. So you have a couple options. You have IAA. You have Kepler. If you're looking for something formal, and
yes.
If you want that path, if you want a very established school, it's been around for a very long time, led by some incredible, passionate individuals, go check out IAA. Make sure you use your code when you sign up. Ena and Jodie, I just want to thank you. I know that this is a labor of love. I know that you pour your hearts and souls into what you do. And I'm just so grateful that you exist and that you're available and that you've partnered with us and that you've been on this podcast here today. So thank you for that. And I look forward to continuing to advocate for more of this for people too, because it will only uplift the whole field. It will only uplift people's experience of astrology, people's perception of astrology, people's engagement with astrology. The more professionals we have out there who are really thoroughly trained, it benefits the whole field. So
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amanda.
You're welcome, Jodie. You're welcome, Ena. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today, for being a part of our community, for making astrology a part of your life, for being interested in how to do it in a really solid way so that you can practice this craft and proliferate this craft and share it with others in the best way possible. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here, and I can't wait to connect with you on the next episode. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda.